So, welcome to this episode in the Feminine Thriving Podcast. Tamara and I are super excited to be talking about one of our favorite topics today, and that is orgasm, orgasmic redefinition, expansion. And, we love this topic because, well, first, it's just fun to talk about, but we really see a lot of women coming into our space and into our programs who are interested in experiencing more pleasure, more sexual pleasure in their bodies and in their pussy. And we don't really have so many spaces in our world where we can talk about it and where we can actually, share with women the different tools and practices and mental shifts that support her to become more dropped into her body and to experience more pleasure in general and specifically more orgasmic pleasure. So, so excited to be here with you.
Yeah, it feels so nice. And as you were just sharing, I was like, yeah, actually there's fuck all Australian places that we can have these conversations and like actually spread it out into the world. We can't talk about this stuff on social media so much. It's like everything's getting censored. So to just be able to sit here with you and have a like really beautiful conversation and be able to put it on a platform where we
Yeah.
can actually say the word pussy and orgasm and not have to like put a little asterisk and try and break up the word because someone
Yep.
might see it and try and censor it. I'm excited.
Exactly. And maybe I'll just kick it off by sharing that a big part of my personal journey into this work and desire to, I guess, start to do embodiment work like we do at the J Temple is because I wanted more pleasure in my body. I was always able to have an orgasm, but it was like from a lot of like, rough and hard clitoral stimulation. And I always it's like it wouldn't always come, and it was like just this little blip of pleasure that I would experience. And for a long time before I actually started doing the practices that we now teach, I had been reading a lot about Tantra and about Taoist practices. And so I really believed and knew that, even though I was experiencing my sexuality kind of on this like lukewarm level, I really knew and felt that the sky is the limit. But like I was here and I wanted to get here and I was like, okay, so what do I do? And my own personal journey really, it took me very, very deep into my own body and my own pleasure and to these practices. And I can very joyfully say now that I have had an absolute complete turnaround in how I experience pleasure and specifically how I experience orgasm in my body. And I'm so passionate about talking about this and sharing about this with women because I really believe, not only I believe, I know that any woman who wants to can increase the pleasure and the orgasmic pleasure that she experiences, not just in her pussy, but in her entire body. It's like it doesn't just stay localized down here. It is possible, very literally, for every single centimeter of the body to become orgasmic and pleasurable and alive. And I just think that we women are happier and healthier and living better lives when they have more pleasure.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, we, often say as in sex, as in life, and just like this mirror. But yeah, when we're experiencing like satisfying orgasmic pleasure in our body, and even just the word like orgasm, it's kind of like sort of suggesting that it's like this very specific moment. But like orgasmic, I love because it's like it's actually like more timeless and it's
Yeah.
not necessarily about one really, really, really specific moment in sexuality, but like experiencing more and more orgasmic pleasure in our bodies, like it is, yeah, it's aliveness, it's juiciness, it's turn on, it is turning on to life. It is like really, it's a shift in the way that we experience not just sexuality and not just our bodies, but also the way that we experience life.
Yeah. And I think that one of the scripts that we've been given, really not just as women, it's as humans, men as well, is that orgasm is just, like I said, like this little blip. It's like, 5, 10, 15 seconds if you're lucky, and then it's finished. But Yeah, it's our experience, and my experience is very, very different from that. It's like our entire lives can become orgasmic. An entire, multi-hour sexual experience can be orgasmic. Like, it is not just a little bit of a moment in time. Um, and yeah, as I'm speaking this, I'm like, okay, well, so what do we do? It's like if a woman is not experiencing what we're talking about currently, if her life or her sexual experiences are not so orgasmic, then what? You know?
Yeah. And there's like, it's like I'm also, as you say that, I'm like, where do you start? Like, what's the beginning of that journey, right? And so for me, the beginning of that journey is actually really like slowing down and building a connection with the body,
Hmm.
right? We can
Hmm.
think orgasm will be go straight to pussy, like it's just like actually, whoa, 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 like to create an orgasmic body, a body that has capacity for like truly satisfying orgasmic energy to be flowing through it. It's actually like starting with this idea of feminine embodiment, actually, like
Yeah,
this really slowing down and recreating a connection with the entire female body.
exactly.
Yeah. And from there, we also work so much with just like this energy body, right? Again, we kind of think of orgasm in the modern world where we kind of go straight to the physical body, straight to a very specific part of the physical body,
Yeah.
straight to a tiny little point on a specific part of the female body, talking about a little blip. It's like
Mhm.
orgasm lives here, right? This is what we've been trained. It's actually like, again, when we're talking about redefining and expanding and starting to like experience different types of orgasms in our body, I think, yeah, starting with the full body and then also coming into this idea of like thinking about energy and the energy body and how we allow this vessel to be like the least blocking or dense or heavy so that energy can actually flow through it. And that can be from all different types of practices, including things like sleeping well and eating well and
Mhm.
shaking our body and being in nature and all of the things that actually allow this, yeah, vessel, this body to be clearer and cleaner and better rested and feeling more vital and more healthy and more energized again before we even come into pussy practices.
Yeah, totally. And one of the things that's coming to me as you're speaking is the breasts. For women, the breast plays such a massive role in our physical sexual pleasure. And for so many women, they have, all of these conditionings and all of these ideas about their breasts, and they don't like them because they're too this or not enough that. And actually, when I first started learning about these practices from the Taoist and the Tantric system, one of the things that was so like it turned me on so deeply is learning that in these systems, they consider the breasts the positive pole in a female body, meaning that it's the place where we can, and I don't like to use the word should, but I'm going to use it, should go to cultivate energy first prior to going to our womb or to our pussy. Because again, it's the positive pole. It's where we can fill up with love, with pleasure, with sensuality, with our own eros and life force the easiest. So that was such a game changer to me to really learn about that and then to actually start to go to my breasts through touch, through massage, even just through awareness. Um, because when this pole of the body is filled, it can very naturally flow down into the yoni, which is considered to be the negative pole in the Taoist and the Tantric system.
Yeah, I just wonder whether it's worth explaining a little bit what you mean by negative and positive poles, because for many
Yeah.
people that doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So again, the positive pole is where you can fill up with energy the easiest.
but
And
what do you mean pole?
so I mean, yeah, I guess we're talking about polarity here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I guess I'm curious, what would you say?
Cool. Yeah, I would love to jump in. I have
Yeah.
like something that comes to me. It's, just kind of stepping back to the idea of polarity
Hmm.
and what does like how does polarity work? And the way that most of us understand polarity is with a battery, right? Obviously, where we have the
Hmm.
negative and positive sides of a battery. And there's one sort of the positive is sort of what is emitting energy, and one is that's like almost like the receptive, the receiving. And so yeah, polarity is the difference between these two, so the difference between the positive and negative. But when we're talking about it from a sense of the body and the female body, for me, it's like this, yeah, if we're talking about the positive pole, it's like this is where the energy is really like it's cultivated, it's
Mm.
generated, it's the positive energy like in the battery. And this is where we can, yeah, cultivate this energy and then like kind of move it down to our bodies. Whereas in the male body, we talk about the male body being the penis and the genitals being the positive pole. And this is where the energy is being emitted from. So it's like that's why if in, heterosexual sex, we actually can create these loops of
Mm.
positive and negative poles of polarity of energy, yeah, circling between us.
Yeah. And yeah, kind of playing off that, I love to kind of think about it in terms of male and female bodies because, yeah, I think it's almost easier to conceive of at least the positive pole in a male body because the penis is very clearly like it is going outward. It's a very outward driven energy. And so in a male body who is, somebody in a male body who's working with these practices, their work is to take that energy, which more easily builds and cultivates in the genitals and bring that up into the heart. And then it's opposite for women. We can build the energy in the heart and in the breasts a bit easier, and then we can bring that energy down into the womb and the yoni.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you were talking about the breasts and kind of the positive pole and how important this is in our sort of, let's say, expanding our orgasmic capacity.
Yeah.
Um, and what else would we say is like an important step for a woman that's like, okay, I want to experience more pleasure. I want to have different types of orgasms.
Yeah. The thing that's coming to me right now is it actually might seem a little ironic, but it's goallessness.
Mm.
So, yes, your desire and your goal to have a better orgasm or to have more pleasure, it's very important. And as you are cultivating and tending the path to get there, I find it so, so useful to actually release that goal and just to focus on sensation in the body and slowing down. That would be another thing. So, coming not only to the breast, but to the entire body. And how, for so many of us, and I have experienced this a lot too, it's like we go to our bodies and it's like, okay, it's like we don't have so much time and it's like, let's get the thing done, you know? And what we're talking about is the opposite. It's like, can we create open space where we don't need to have an orgasm? We don't even need to have pleasure, but we are still going to our bodies. So if we start to apply that to the pussy and the yoni, for instance, you could just be holding your hand over your vulva and breathing. Or you could go a step further and maybe bring in some massage using some oil or some lube and touch your vulva, touch your clitoris, the vaginal lips, the outer lips, the inner lips, the perineum, maybe around the entrance to the vagina. And again, touching not to get anywhere, not to get anything, but just because your body is worthy and deserving of touch and of connection. And that I feel like is such a massive game changer. That was a huge, huge part of my own journey.
Yeah, and it's a big also the connection we were just talking about it. We've actually just filmed another episode. But we were talking about rewiring neural pathways, right? And
Yeah,
so this idea of just coming without any goal, without needing to do anything but like breathing with your pussy or just massaging your vulva and being
yeah,
just bringing this blood flow, this energy, these neural pathways, this like awareness that like she starts to come alive. She starts to
exactly.
feel more sensation again. She starts to, we were literally with the physiology of your body is it's starting to come alive.
Yeah. And in some ways it's like it feels not so sexy to me, but blood flow and energy flow and even hormonal flow, it is such a big part of this. And if we are going to the body, especially, the yoni is so, so sensitive. And if we're going to her and we're like, give me orgasm, give me pleasure, that's like, that's not really the, kindest way to go to her. And if we instead go to her and we're like, I'm just going to be with you and I'm going to hold you and I'm going to touch you and I'm going to breathe with you and you don't have to give me anything. The irony is that then she starts to give you everything.
For sure. Yeah, I always love to say, yeah, like when she feels heard and seen, just like us women.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. It's like, even in a fight or something, it's like as soon as we're heard or seen, someone actually like is with us and they don't need anything and they're just like, I see you. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, what can I do for you?
exactly.
And you said just now that talking about blood flow isn't so sexy, but it does feel like kind of an important thing to talk about blood flow and erectile tissue and like actually the fact that our pussy has got erectile tissue all up and inside her and around her. And so blood flow is not just like it's not just bringing like a direction of blood, but it actually our body actually fills and engorges with blood that actually can help us feel more sensation, feel more pleasure. She's actually becomes more juicy, more alive. This blood flow is like it's needed. It's a big part of female pleasure and female orgasm.
Yeah, just like it's a part of male pleasure and male orgasm. Women have the same amount of erectile tissue that a man's body does. Ours is just on the inside. And so, yeah, I love that you brought this up because one of the things that we love to do is to teach women about their anatomy and about their pleasure anatomy. And yes, learning about where specifically the places of erectile tissue are on our body so that we can then go there both with our touch, with our awareness, with our breath. That it makes such a massive difference. And in a female body, we have erectile tissue in the clitoris, which is not just what you can see on the outside. The clitoris is a whole organ that extends inside of the body. And then we also have erectile tissue around the G spot. I actually really like to use the word urethral sponge for that because it is not just a spot. It's actually like an entire tube of erectile tissue that surrounds the urethra. And then we also have erectile tissue in the perineal sponge, which is on if you were to insert a finger in the vagina and press downwards towards the anus, that's where the perineal sponge is. And it's like, wow, why are we not taught this? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like, how has no one spoken to us about this? To be perfectly honest, in the entire year-long coaching program that I went through, we didn't even talk about this. The sexuality coaching program that I went through, we didn't talk about erectile tissue. And I learned about it through a book that I read, and I was just like, whoa, like, this is amazing. This makes so much sense. And yeah, to be able to give women like a map of their own anatomy so that they can then go and work with these places in the body, it just it shifts everything, I feel.
It totally does. Like knowledge is power.
Yeah.
It is. And when we know our bodies, we know what's happening there. It's like, oh, and then it can also bring this like curiosity of like, oh, okay, now I know what I'm exploring. Instead of
Exactly.
fear
Exactly.
of the unknown, it's a curiosity of the known and wanting to start to like experience and see and feel these things that we're taught about. And I'm actually blown away by what you just said about being in a year-long program around sexuality and not learning about
Yeah.
erectile tissue. And I've also had a gynecologist in Yoni Initiation Retreat who's like sat in pussy school, as we like to call it when we're teaching this stuff. And she's like, you're teaching me things that I've never learned in medical school,
Wow.
and
Fascinating.
it's incredible, incredible. And she said, the end of the retreat, she was like, and mind you, she was a 72-year-old,
Oh,
like badass.
so
Like I was just like, please, can I be like you when I'm older? But she said, she was a bit like, okay, I'm going to go on this retreat. I might not learn so much, but I'm like, sure, it would be really nice to just like hang out with women for 4 days. And like, I'm
Yeah.
sure it'll be empowering and fun and we'll sing some songs and da da. And she was like, I'm learning so much
Amazing.
that I never even knew. And I'm a
Wow.
trained gynecologist.
Crazy. Crazy.
So there's these are keys. They are keys. And I
Yeah.
really truly like pussy school's 1 hour in yoni initiation. It doesn't need to be like it's just like very, very simple, basic
Exactly.
stuff, and it can change everything.
Exactly. That's what I was just thinking. I'm like, it's actually very simple. Again, it's not rocket science. Like we are not teaching complex stuff, but the simple knowledge and tools, it makes all of the difference. And I actually had a similar experience, I think last year, where I was sharing this information, the Pussy School information, in a festival that I was at. And there was a sex therapist, like a certified trained sex therapist. And she was like, holy shit, like I didn't know about any of this. You just changed my life and you just changed my business. And so it's just, it's so telling that even in these fields, these medical fields and the field of sex therapy, even in the field of sex coaching that I'm talking about, it's like we are not learning this very, very key piece of information about our own anatomy, you know? And we're here to change that.
We are here to change that one pussy at a time, as we like to
Yeah.
say. Wow. So, okay, so let's just do a little, we talked about like connecting to the full body, like taking care of the body on an energetic physical level in terms of, health and sleep and what we're eating and putting into our body. And we talked about like slowing down and having a goalless, slow connection with our pussies, learning about our anatomy. What else would you say would be the f- keys for women who
Yeah.
want to?
So I'm thinking specifically of two things, and these are two embodiment practices. One is the practice of de-armoring, or I'm going to say de-armoring and mapping, yoni mapping or vaginal mapping. They really, really go together in the way that I view things. And then also the practice of the jade egg. Um, the practice of de-armoring and mapping is about going inside of your vagina using a finger or a wand. I actually really encourage women to use their own fingers because when you're using your own fingers, you're getting the neural feedback between your brain and vagina, both with your fingers and the neural feedback from your vulva and your vagina. And so, yeah, the mapping and de-armoring practice is basically like, let's say this was the entrance of the vagina. You are just going very, very slowly, goallessly, as we've been saying, breathing and feeling what's here. So maybe you get to a place that's numb or painful or where there's emotion or even where there's pleasure. And then the invitation is to actually pause, breathe into it, hold space for it, and allow it to do what it wants to do, you know? Maybe there's an emotional release. Maybe there's an orgasmic release. Maybe something else comes up. But again, it's literally just about being there with ourselves. And then you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into the entire vaginal canal. And the idea is to, yeah, find those places inside of your vagina that, like I said, are pleasurable or painful or numb or emotional. Something starts to move and to tend to them just through our awareness, through our breath, holding ourselves through whatever is coming up. Because this our sexual center is also our emotional center. So we are storing so much there. And for most women, especially if they've had some sort of painful experience associated with their sexuality, which let's be real, most of us had, we store that there on the level of the tissues. And so to go there like I'm talking about and to just be with what is, it softens it, it releases it, it releases the hold physically and energetically that is there in your body.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you kind of brought that in because I was feeling that I wanted to we talk about the word de-armoring and what is armoring.
Mm.
And it really is like you can even feel it, in your shoulders or different places in your body, like when there are things whether it be tension or stress or traumas or experiences that the body starts to armor, right? It starts to
Yeah.
get tense, it starts to armor to protect itself. And like you were just saying, so much of the things that have happened to us emotionally or sexually can be armored and stored in our pussies. And so that's why this is like it's a de-armoring, and we're basically giving the body, and I'm just using my shoulder because it's an easier example. We all know the tension we get in our shoulders, how like just being with the shoulder and giving it some massage, like holding there and just like breathing and actually giving this massage and this release to the tissues, to the body. We're also working on a deeper energetic level as we have our awareness there, as we're bringing our breath there, our sound there, even movement, but we're really like giving the body a chance to, let go
To
of some of
soften.
this armor.
To soften. And actually, softening is one of the things that brings in more and more pleasure. Um, I just wanted to also piggyback off something that you said there. I think this is a easy example for women to kind of grasp in terms of the armoring. Most women have either been entered in their vagina before they're ready, or they continue to have sex beyond the point where their body is wanting to go. And so if you imagine what's happening there, it's literally the vagina is contracting. And especially if a woman is doing this again and again and again, and I know I was doing this for years and years and years of my life, imagine what that does to the tissues. It makes the tissues hard. It can make literally, it can create adhesion to bone. The muscle can adhere to the bone. And thankfully, we can reverse all of this by doing these practices, by just going there and holding and breathing with it. And it might take a while, it might not take a while. But it's such a beautiful practice to work with really consistently throughout the lifetime because let's be real, we live in a stressful world, you know? And this part of our body really tends to hold on to things. It's like, sometimes I can feel when I feel stressed or if something happens, even if I'm driving on the road and I have to stop quick, it's like I can feel my yoni contract, you know? So this is a way to bring softening. And when we bring softening, then we also bring more pleasure.
Yeah, totally. And there's this idea of like the contraction. It's just something that's so it's a big part of all of our lives, right? Like we do have the shoulders, but actually all of us, and including men, it's like we often talk about this, like we're all walking around squeezing our assholes because we're all like actually tense and stressed.
Yeah.
And for us, it's like the whole pelvic floor and the vagina. And it's like most of the job of expanding pleasure in our pussies is a job of softening,
Softening.
right?
Yeah.
And I have a practice that I share with women in every retreat and many classes, and I try and do it as frequently as I can. Maybe I'm less in the practice of it right now, but I have been in the past where it might be 100 times a day, and I do
Mhm.
jaw, belly,
Yeah.
pelvic floor,
Yeah.
soften.
Yeah.
And I'm riding my scooter and I feel myself,
Mm.
and then I just go jaw, belly, pelvic floor, standing in the line ready to order coffee. Jaw, belly, pelvic floor.
Yeah.
And just starting to reprogram the body through constant repetition, just these tiny little moments, soften, 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 let go of the grip, let go of the grip. And this is starting to, reprogram the body for safety, for softness, for pleasure.
Yeah. And I feel like there's almost like a misunderstanding in a lot of people hold this misunderstanding where they think that tension actually brings more pleasure. Tension can bring like that little blip of pleasure, like we've been talking about. Like maybe for our listeners, next time you're experiencing pleasure, you can see what you naturally do with it. A lot of the times we experience a little pleasure and it's like, ooh, I want more. And the way you experience more is by contracting around it. But this practice of de-armoring and actually also of the jade egg, it teaches you to soften with your pleasure and to release because, yeah, again, you can experience so much more pleasure, not just in your yoni, but the softening of the yoni actually takes a pleasure that can continue to build and build and build, and then it expands up to the entire body. So that's when your orgasmic experiences can go from just being in the pussy to becoming full body and even energy body.
Yeah, exactly. And I can like feel myself. I can't, it's like I don't want to sit still as we're having this conversation because my body wants to move. And with the energy, that's like my
Yeah.
body is coming alive, right, as we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, moving from like very localized orgasm is just what we're talking about, expanding our capacity or expanding orgasm or redefining it and bringing it more into the rest of the body. This is part of it, right? This is like it's
Yeah.
like so that we're soft and we can actually allow this pleasure, this energy to move throughout the entire body.
Exactly. And if you think about what we were talking about earlier with the different poles in the body, imagine that this pole, the positive pole, the breast, it's juicy, it's cultivated, it's alive. And then the same thing with the yoni. The yoni is soft, it's overflowing. Then the pleasure and the energy it very literally starts to move all on its own from here to here. And then eventually it can be here and it's full body. And one of the main keys, again, is just softening. So I'm going to do that right now.
And breath,
And
as you were
breath.
saying,
And breath.
softening and breath.
Yeah. And maybe we can just touch on the jade egg for a moment here, because, yeah, I really do feel that these practices, the practice of, I mean, everything that we've been speaking about, but especially the de-armoring and the mapping together with the jade egg, to me, it's like such a delicious combination.
Orgasmic even.
Orgasmic. So yeah, gosh, there's so much that we could talk about with a jade egg, and this is not an episode just on the jade egg, so we'll just kind of scratch the surface. Um, but yeah, the jade egg on a physical level, what it is doing is it's toning and strengthening the muscles in the vagina. And when you have a combination of being able to really soften and release and relax the muscles while also having toned muscles, this is an incredible key to experiencing more orgasmic pleasure in the body. Um, and also the jade, I mean, I love the jade egg so much because it's not just a physical practice, it's also an energetic practice. Um, when you're working with it, what you are actually doing, I mean, one of the things that you're doing is learning how to take the energy that tends to just be localized down here, the sexual energy in the pelvis, and literally lift it through your awareness and through your breath all the way up your spine to the top of your head and then down the front center of your body, back down to your pussy and your womb space. And again, just having your awareness and eventually your sexual energy traveling through this channel, it's like I can feel it. It's just so delicious and yummy. And like, yeah, I just feel that the scripts that we are given around our sexuality in general, there's not space for this. There's not space for this expansion that can happen. And I guess the thing that I love about really the work that we offer is that we love to share these concrete tools that can that can really bring you from a place of feeling cut off or numb or disconnected, or even just, what I was sharing about my journey earlier. Like, I wanted more pleasure. I had some pleasure, but I just wanted more pleasure. And these are, yeah, just very, very specific tools that can bring that into your body and in your life.
Yeah, they really are. They really, really are. And obviously, we have many places that we're offering this. One of the key places that I will just talk about briefly now is in Yoni Initiation, which really is like we see it as a initiation into a lot of these practices, an initiation into our sexuality as women, and an initiation into redefining sexuality, redefining orgasm, redefining what it is to be a sexual woman on the planet. And yeah, it's 4 days of like full power sisterhood, of learning this knowledge, of learning these tools, of like working through it together and what it brings up in us as we start to discover these things. What are the shame stories? What are the pain stories? What are the pleasure stories? Everything that comes with starting to dip our toes into this work.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have one coming up in 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks, that will be us holding this together again
Mhm.
for the first time in a very long time. And yeah, it's an opportunity if anyone's here on Koh Phangan right now. If you're not, and this work is yeah, lighting you up and you're like, I want more, then the membership is the best place to start right now because we offer the feminine embodiment classes, the somatic safety space, and we're also offering, which not many other places online are doing right now,
Yeah.
jade egg, yoni wand, and pleasure ritual practices where we're actually, we personally, and our soon graduates are guiding you into practices into this work and really holding a community of women that are exploring this stuff together. So,
Yeah, exactly. And then we also have opportunities to go deeper because we have a Jade Egg online course that from now on is going to be running once per year. We have plans of rolling out, I'm not going to say a Yoni wand course because, as I said, like I feel it's more than just the wand. It has to do with the fingers and getting really, really intimate with the vulva and the vagina. Um, but yeah, we're going to be rolling out with a course on that later on this year. And then actually, we have the second level of our facilitator training that teaches women how to do these practices. So the first level is the feminine embodiment and the female body education. And then, yeah, the second level, we actually teach women how to do the de-armoring and the mapping and the yoni egg work, and also, just learning about female sexuality in general.
yeah. So this is actually we're launching that this year for women to hold these spaces. Again, we want this work to spread far and wide. We want it to
Mhm.
be held in a really, really safe way. We are so devoted to, yeah, being trauma informed and to creating space for every woman's experience and not needing to push into this work or get any certain way or for it to need to look a certain way. Like
Mm.
a lot of the teachers around female sexuality, I've seen little spaces where even the clitoral orgasm is shamed somehow. It becomes like something that we're like embarrassed by. And I'm like, no, no, no. Like, everything that we're doing is just like expanding the menu of what's possible in your body, and everything is perfect and everything is welcome. And yeah, the way that we like intentionally want to bring this work to the world is very specific. And yeah, we've spent many years, both of us, like training, learning, studying, offering this work so that we can, yeah, grow this movement and bring it to the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what's coming to me right now is that, especially for some of our listeners who maybe have never done these practices, who have never engaged in this work, it might be like, whoa, like that's a lot or that's intense. Um, but to me, it's like women touching their vulvas and their vaginas and getting intimate with the inside of their body, it is so, so important. And, we have come across so many women who have never put their finger inside of their vagina or who are afraid to. And I don't say that with any kind of shame at all or shaming at all. But to me, it is so important that we become intimate with our bodies if we want to be living a life full of eros, full of pleasure that can literally feed us in all other areas of our lives. And so I actually, in a lot of ways, I think of this stuff as simple. It's like a lot of what we are teaching at the J Temple, it's simple stuff, yet it has become not normal in our world because female sexuality, and I mean male sexuality too, but especially female sexuality, it's so taboo and it's so shamed. And so yeah, we are just lit up at the idea of women all around the planet being very intimate with their own fingers, with their vulvas and their vaginas.
For sure. And, we're talking a lot about pleasure and orgasm in this particular episode, but I just want to maybe even close it with, it's not even just about pleasure, but it's also about like safety. Like a woman that knows a yes and no in her pussy, she knows a yes and no in her life. When she can honor her yes and no in her pussy because she's learnt to feel it and on a subtle level and start to honor that, she can also do that in her own life. So much of the reason that there's so much abuse and so many things that are happening to women all around the world is because we've been taught to keep quiet and to ignore what's happening in our bodies and to just deal with it and just to let things happen. So much of this work, yes, we want to expand orgasm, we want to be in our full juicy pleasure, but it actually keeps us safe. It actually keeps us in our power. It actually gives us more capacity to say no and to stand up for what we truly want or don't want. So it feels really, really important on that level right now on the planet as well.
Yeah, totally. And like we all come from sexuality, we all come from orgasm. So the more that we are intimate with that part of the body, and I love what you're saying, the more we really hear and learn to honor our yeses and nos in that part of the body, it's like it ripples out to touch the rest of like every single part of the rest of our lives. And that's like, I am lit up about women having more pleasure and more orgasm, but I'm also lit up about women having these tools that affect every single aspect of what they're doing.
Fuck yeah. I'm turned on by women all across the world saying, no,
Yeah, exactly.
no,
Exactly.
enough,
Oh,
no.
I don't want to be entered now. No, I'm finished, you
Yeah.
know?
No, I don't want you to do that. No, I don't want to
Yeah.
do that myself. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. So,
So let's say yes to what we can, yeah, to this movement, to this work. And yeah, if anyone would like to, as share anything they've been impacted by this episode or anything that's touched them, like bring it to actually the Jade Temple Sisterhood Facebook group is a really good place to bring anything because
yeah.
there's a whole community of women there, 3,500 women, a lot of who have done this work, a lot of who have experienced this work. So if there's stuff that comes up from you from this conversation that you want to share or be seen in, you can bring it there. And there's a whole community of women that for sure there will be women that will want to come and comment
Yeah.
and respond and reply and be in conversation with you around these things.
Yeah. Yep. Yay. Amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. Just trying to think if there's any last little bits we want to add in there. I think that's good. Yeah.
Come join the revolution.
Come join the freaking revolution. The pussy revolution, the woman's revolution. Let's go.
The feminine revolution. We're
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Amazing. Mwah.